What's going on, everybody? This is Ray Rawlins of the Ray Rawlins Network, and I'm joined by Mr. Alex Pain. And today we have a little segment called First Impression Wednesdays, or we might change the name of it, who knows. But either way, today we are reviewing episode 1 of Death Note. Now, for the one person who's probably followed me since I started this channel, everybody knows I did a review of Death Note. But I wanted Mr. Alex to see it, and I decided to use this little segment as a way of forcing his hand to see it. So, Mr. Alex Payne, thoughts on the episode? Your first initial thoughts. What do you think of it after watching it?
So my so my first initial thought was, I no anime or TV series should have a song at the very beginning of it. I feel like I feel like the first
Really?
episode of any yeah, I feel like the first episode of any ongoing shit series should start with like this, even if it's just a clip and then the song. I guess that's understandable, even though the song still shouldn't be there. Because like a song is like a highlight of things to come and all that other shit and everything. So it's like that shouldn't be on the first episode. That should be on like the second episode. And if it is on the first episode, it should be like I said, it should be after a clip or something. It shouldn't be right away.
Right. Okay,
So,
okay. I can kind of agree with you on that one.
and then my second thought when the episode was on, after the song was over and the actual episode started, I was like, God damn, Undertaker coming. Because it had all, because it had
You're stupid.
anyone who's a wrestling fan would recognize all those, like that was the Undertaker WrestleMania entrance pre-song shit with the monks and
Yeah,
all.
yeah, the druid shit. I
Yes.
mean, not
So
necessarily, but I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're stupid.
listen. If you go back and listen to it, that could fit perfect over an
I
Undertaker
sup-
entrance, no
and it could no,
problem.
don't get it twisted. It can, but obviously, that's the Shinigami scene. Gods of death and shit. So of course, that's definitely understandable. But since I kind of had to force your hand to watch it, this is what I'm kind of getting at. Was it as bad as you thought it would be, or was it decent?
It was no, I
I
never
knew you.
listen.
I knew you were gonna do
I
that. I knew you
never
were gonna do that.
said, I never said I thought it was terrible or thought it was going to be terrible or anything of the sort. I just not in the place where I feel like watching new shit right now. And not to mention that I friggin' recommend plenty of shit to you and you never watch it. I need to
You're
figure
right.
out a
You're
way.
100% right.
I need
But
to
you gotta
figure out a way
force
to
my
force your
hand.
hand. But you ain't gonna do
Ah.
nothing. If I came to you and said tomorrow I want to do a Dexter review on my channel,
You
you
know
need to
what? I
watch it
would
too.
do it.
You
I
would
would do it. Real talk. I would do it because you're doing it for me. I would do it. But we'll argue about that later.
yeah.
I'm gonna give everybody a little description of the series since I watched it. I say 2 times in full now. Basically, the whole premise of Death Note, and you pretty much get a whole introduction of it in this episode, follows the story of Light Yagami, who is, I guess you could say, a high school going on college student, a very smart kid, and he really thinks this world is rotten. And he comes upon a notebook that is called the Death Note, where you can write a person's name in it, and within 40 seconds, if no cause of death is written, they die of a heart attack. And I believe it's 6 minutes and 40 seconds. You can write a cause of death, and they'll die from that specific cause of death. So, in a sense, Light would become a Shinigami with this notebook, a god of death. He can control the way people die. Now, the owner of the notebook was Ryuk, who was the Shinigami seen at the beginning of the episode, who eventually comes down to Earth and meets up with Light and basically explains to him the whole rules of the notebook, explains that he can either go to heaven or hell and whatnot. He'll feel the fear and pain of all the people who use the notebook will feel. So, long story short, Light's main goal throughout this whole series is to become a god of a new world in which there's no crime, no evil people, or anything of the sort. He just wants the world to be perfect, a utopia in a sense. Do you agree with that description, Mr. Alex Pain?
Considering that this is the first episode I've seen and I haven't seen the whole series, I'm not sure. But from the first episode, yeah, that's what it seems like. Like he's friggin' wants to make a new world and everything. But to transition to my opinion of it is like I think the switch. Well, first of all, I think like hit the first initial does it work or doesn't it work thing was kind of cheesy-ish the way it was done.
Not
I
really, not
guess
really. Because if you think
to
about it
me,
though,
it was
if you
like
if
like
you
the way they presented it, not like the idea of it. The way it was like, like I don't know. It just sounded. It even sounded like kind of corny the way the guy was saying it, like the voice actor.
he's a nerd,
And
you can't expect him. That's one thing, and I don't know, maybe I'm kind of wrong about this. The kid is essentially a nerd, right? And I guess the voice actor who was playing him for the English dub kind of played to that demeanor a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I shouldn't be calling him a nerd. He's a smart guy. Anyway, I think the way they presented it, and this is just my opinion, is it feels 100% realistic to me. Because if you stumble across that shit in the real world, you're gonna think, yo, hold on, is this even real? You're gonna want to test it out. So of course
no,
you're gonna
like I said,
test it.
I agree with that. I'm talking about the way it was written, the way it was taught, the way the actor said the lines. Like it just sounded very like it just sounded cheesy. I'm not saying
Okay.
the idea of him wanting to test it out was cheesy, because obviously not. Of course, you'd have to test it out and then see if it works, whatever. But when he was like, "Oh, it doesn't work," I don't know, man. But maybe it does.
Right.
But I will say this though. The thing that kind of one thing that I found kind of weird was like his switches between like what like his good to bad or whatever seems so like random and quick with no real like it's like he legit goes from how could this happen? Cool, I
Yeah.
could do this. It like
Right.
instantly like in that same scene when he's crying about killing the people or whatever, it's like oh wait, I could kill bad people. I'm happy now. It's like it just that definitely seemed kind of corny to me. Like that transition, it was just like I'm sad. Oh wait, I could do this now. But but all
You
that
sound
being
you
said, I
sound
thought the
you
episode
sound
was
corny doing
interesting.
this review. That's good. I'm
It,
glad you thought it was interesting. I'm happy to hear it. I think though, and maybe I'm wrong, because is there like some type of mental disorder like that? Is that like sociopathy or something like that? I'm no
no,
doctor.
that's
I don't know. Cause
I don't know
there's
if any
something
like
something like that.
if anything, that would be like I don't even know what that would be, because I know what someone would immediately say who don't know any better. Bipolar, but that's not bipolar.
No, no.
Um,
Schizophrenia maybe?
maybe I would say the closest possible thing is maybe multiple personality type of thing.
Right. Here's what I
But
want to ask you. You think the episode's interesting? Like I said, I'm glad to hear that. But I think the one question that I even asked myself at the first time I watched this, and this is what I like about it. It kind of equates to the real world in a sense. You got criminals out here doing fucked up shit. If you had a device like that or a notebook like that, how would you use it? Would you even use it, or would you be like, screw it, that ain't my job to mess with that? Would you use it in the way that he's doing it, or how would you go about doing that?
I feel like this I feel like this is a trick and trap question.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's definitely not. I
Because
legit had the
basically,
same question myself when I watched it. Like, damn, would I use something like that, man? It's like I don't know.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one, because any answer I give kind of would make paint me in a bad light. So I'm just gonna say no,
I
I would
don't
not
see.
use it.
You know what? And this is the thing. If you continue on with the series, Light makes a great point with that, man. Smart guy. Smart guy. Um, but what are your final thoughts though? Like, is there any parts that really stuck out to you? Is there any parts of the episode that you liked or didn't like, or
Um, I feel like the now, okay, when did Death Note come out?
I want to say it started in maybe like 2006, 2007 maybe.
All right. Because I was just curious, but like I don't know how to describe it. When it's the premise of it kind of Hannibal-ish, where it's like, you know what, I'm bored, so I'm gonna manipulate a whole bunch of shit just to see what happens, like type of
Right,
feel.
right,
Cause like that's, I mean, granted, the like, see, I don't know exactly what happened in the books, but if you watch the Hannibal series, then they pretty much say a similar thing for like whatever. Like I did this just to see what would happen. I set all this
right.
emotion just to see what would happen. But no, but I think like I said, my final thoughts is the episode is I think it was good. Yeah, I'll say it was good. Now, would I die if I never watched another episode and if I left it off there? No, I could literally never watch another episode again and be perfectly fine. But I don't regret watching it by any means. So I'll give the episode 6.5.
Really? I thought you were rated a little higher. Higher. I said higher. Haha. I thought you rated a little higher. I'd say probably maybe a 7.5, 8 maybe when I first initially reviewed it. So I think that's all right. Like you're not a big anime person, and I wouldn't even say anime necessarily has anything to do with it. It's just like the start, the beginning of the plot. That's the whole purpose of this little segment to see basically if we would or wouldn't continue. I tell you this, after watching the first episode, I think I seen it like maybe 2 years ago around this time, and I immediately messaged my brother because he was just getting back into anime. I was like, "Yo, you need to check this out." I kid you not. The next day he messaged me back. So, man, I'm on episode. I think he said episode 15, and then later on in that day he was on like episode 26. I'm like, damn, you flying through that shit. But it honestly is a good series. Once you get past like the third episode when L starts getting introduced, it's a damn good series. But immediately after that first episode, I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna have to continue. It took me a year because I want to do reviews, and of course I was slacking on that shit. But I eventually continued, and when I did not regret it. That's the truth. Shit. So would you continue or nah?
Well, if it's a continue or not, then I guess I would continue. I would continue watching it.
Okay. So my job here is done. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this first episode of First Impression Wednesdays or Wednesdays First Impressions. We got to figure out a better name for it, but you know what it is. We on the Ray Rawlins Network. My name is Ray Rawlins. He is Alex Pain. We just watched Death Note. Well, I watched it again. So I will see you tomorrow for our anime podcast called, I fucking forgot the name. What was it? Getting Color? The Getting Color podcast with Alex Payne, Ray Rawlins, Bailey Smoke Rudolph. And yeah, that's it. Peace out, everybody. See you tomorrow.